About another few hours into it, Steve, I don't know, he gets a whiff of some burning poison oak or something.
I smelled it. I smelled the burn. I smelled it. There's you can smell fire. You want to smell it? Smell it. Oh, you can smell it. You can smell fire from so far away. Oh, yeah. So I found these 2 sticks, and I was like, fuck yeah, we're making fire. We're making fire now.
Come to speak of it, though, he had been a little funny ever since that tree reading thing, you know? So he starts grabbing these 2 sticks and rubbing them against each other really fast, and we're walking along, and I'm getting kind of annoyed because it sounds like, a dying cricket or something behind me.
And so I start running these 2 sticks so hard, just so hard, they start sparking.
And I turn around and I slap him, and I'm like, Steve, that will not do.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Just rubbing 2 sticks together.
But he takes one of them and pokes me in the nose.
So I poke him in the nose, and he starts to bleed and whines like a little bitch.
Anyway, my nose starts bleeding. I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? And he goes back and ignites a spark, catching the underbrush on fire, lighting the whole place aflame.
And then I catch some foliage on fire, and I was like, fuck yeah. This is gonna be sweet. Biggest bonfire ever, baby. Those are good warm. And I just take off into the woods.
Steve ran straight into the fire like a madman, like a man on fire.
And all of a sudden, a grizzly bear pops up.
So we encountered this bear, right? A bear in the woods. What is this?
It wasn't one of those little fucking midget bears you see on the National Geographic, okay? One of those ones you can go up to, oh, honey, there's a bear, let's take a picture. Oh, let's feed it crackers. No. Not that bear.
Now, the thing I said to the bear was pretty catchy when I first saw him. I'm like, hey, Yogi, I guess you're not smarter than an average bear.
So we see it, and it kind of jumps up in the air. And David, he's always, giving me crap about my height. He goes, Zach, you're about the same size as it. You should just go box it. And I'm like, David, I don't have any boxing gloves. So I go bare-fist it.
Zach went up first because he's the biggest, all right? Call him Stretch Armstrong. His arms stretched all the way to next week. He threw a punch from like 20 feet and he hit the bear. But didn't do shit anyway. The bear batted him away.
He hit Zach in the leg and tripped him. In the leg. He fell like a freaking tree. The man's a giant.
I took off into the forest, lighting more force on fire, hoping Smokey will be like, okay, this kid is doing too much fire damage. I gotta stop him.
Now, it starts lighting up the whole place, and we see Jason, Zach, and David fighting a bear. That's right, a bear.
I saw that bear and I ran towards it. Because God forbid that wasn't Smokey the Bear. That was fucking Smokey the Bear.
And then all of a sudden there's smoke everywhere. And fire. And then we see Steve and TJ coming.
And Steve and TJ started running out. Steve was running around like some kind of retarded elephant being fucked by Shaquille O'Neal at the Mass.
He was screaming at the top of his lungs what I thought was the theme song from The Lion King, I believe.
Now, Zach has it held off with another big stick that he had found like this, keeping it at arm's distance so it couldn't quite swipe him. And Jason was at the side trying to get a good shot at its back to stab it, and David was jumping up and down.
They were fighting Smokey the Bear. I tried to stop him.
So they come and help us fight, except now Steve wants to save him because he thinks it's Smokey. I say, it's not Smokey, he doesn't have the hat. Smokey has a hat.
Zach's continuing trying to hold it off, but I see that Zach's losing the battle because the bear's so big, so strong. So I run over there, and Steve just running through the fire, creating more fire. I see the bear look at me, and I point at the bear, and the bear turns around and it starts walking towards me. That's when I start charging the bear as if I'm on a horse with a lance, charging at it.
He attacks the bear. He starts running at the thing. He's like, just yelling. And then he throws his pole like it's a spear, and the bear catches it and stabs him in the nose. And TJ is fucking bleeding out of his nose. And he's like, oh, blood. It's like, the man's never seen blood before. Well, alright, Count Dracula, just go and sit in the corner of David and cry.
And that's when Zach stabs it in the back of the head. And it falls down, almost dead, except it turns around and trips Zach.
Zach is on the ground, and I'm the one with the machete. So I'm fighting this bear one-on-one. I'm going one-on-one with this thing. I'm like, alright, Papa Lucky, fool, let's go. Put up your dukes, bitch. And so I throw my knife at it, and it stabs right in the heart.
And that's when I come upon it. And I'm like, Bear hug this, bitch. And I stab it in the head.
And we stand over, and I look down at the bear, and just as it's dying, I go, grin and bear it.
The forest fire, it turns out, alerted the the air response unit.
Anyway, the helicopter came, and they rescued us.
They come to stop the forest fire. They spray all this weird chemical shit on us, which luckily puts us out on fire, but unfortunately it didn't save the bear, which burnt alive, so now we have no evidence that we killed the bear. Anyway, they rescued us and brought us up on charges of arson.
And they charge us with arson for burning stuff. Can you believe that?
No one lives out there anyway. It's a forest. Someone said, we kill animals who live out there. It was their home. They're burnt alive. They don't have a home anymore. Where they need to live somewhere?
Actually, I'm just doing this interview before I have to go do 300 hours of community service on 217 highway.
So never do community service. Ridiculous.
TJ's working on a highway. Steve is singing to the poor children down at the shelter. David, ironically, is doing work at a farm. He's milking cows. I don't know what Jason's doing. I don't even know if he's doing community service.
Community service? Ooh. I guess I skipped that shit.
Chihuahua.